Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.
And we are father
and son.
Today, Jayson and I are going to tackle the 4th and 5th volumes of Boom's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers by Kyle Higgins. Today, we're not going to tackle any other side books or anything. Last time we did Power Rangers Pink, and folks that have been patient with us but excited for us to finally get to Go-Go Power Rangers, we're going to do that next time, and we're going to do the first 2 volumes of that. So we're just focusing today on some of the stuff leading up to Shattered Grid. There's going to be one more trade before we get to that with the Higgins stuff. So today we're tackling the first of the 2 trades is about the big fight against Draken, and then the second trade is kind of the aftermath of that that leads us to, in my opinion, some of the most interesting stuff in the book. Like, once you get past the kind of Crisis on 2 Earths stuff, it starts to get more into the stuff that I'm here for, or find that I end up being here for. And that's kind of the itinerary for today. So Jayson is going to take us through the story, and we're going to kind of structure this a little bit differently today. Jayson's going to do some kind of broad just telling us what the story's about, giving us the synopsis, pardon me, and then we'll kind of go through some notes and tell you what we thought about this section. So issues 13 to 20, what we're talking about today. And Jayson, what happens in the first trade?
So in the first trade, basically, Finster is planning something. He is making, like, something about Goldar, and we find out later that he's making, like, big Goldar armies.
Well, we actually find out at the beginning of this that what he's doing is making a new Goldar. We actually knew that from the end of the last issue, but we didn't know what it meant. Do you remember that? Where Rita goes, oh, Goldar, I'm going to make you better. You know, we didn't know what that meant. Yeah. And then here we find out it means not just improving on Goldar, but making an army of them.
Yeah. So basically he makes an army of Goldars, and, like, he's working on it here. And then I'm just gonna go through this pretty quickly. So basically, we're with the Coinless, and it's like, they're having, like, trust issues and stuff.
So we've got 2 subplots going on, right?
Yeah.
We're in 2 different dimensions.
Mm-hmm. Because you have the whole, like, Finster thing with the big Goldars in one in the main dimension, and then in the Draken dimension you have, like, the whole like, Billy and Tommy are trying to get, like, trust from the Coinless.
Mm-hmm. Led by Zach and Trini.
Yes.
This whole thing is kind of about 2 Trinis, right?
Yeah. And Scorpion comes back.
Scorpion?
How
about Sub-Zero? Is he in here too? Scorpina!
Scorpina. I forgot her name. I don't know. I love Scorpina. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you disappointed by how little she has to do in this?
A little bit. But she comes back and she does some stuff.
She's sort of integral to the plot, but we don't do kind of a lot with her. But anyway.
Yeah. But basically, what happens is, like, I don't know when this happens, but, like, they get their powers back after they fight the army of big Goldars, and then and we find out that Billy died
in the other dimension. Yeah. Is he the only one that did? I mean, we don't see. So. No, that's not true, because we know Jayson died, and then, of course, we know what happened to Kimberly later on. We'll find that out.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, you know what happened to Kimberly.
No.
She's Ranger Slayer.
I am.
So we don't find it out here, but when we get to Shattered Grid, we're going to find... You know about that.
I do know about that.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, like, to be continued. But then, like, they get their powers back.
Mm-hmm.
After right before that, we get the filler issue, which I love that filler issue with Zordon. where he's like basically like the Watcher.
And that's actually after this. That's 15.
Okay,
And it's funny that you call it it's funny that you call it a filler issue because I'm just going through the pictures I took of these while you're talking, but it is and it isn't, right? Because it sort of reads filler like it's kind of filling in background. Some background we've already found out about. But it gives us a little bit more information and details, I suppose, about how Draken took over this alternate dimension and what that status quo has become. But we actually will find out that the two subplots that we're looking at are sort of intertwined, and that the coinless plot can't really happen without what ends up happening in the present, because the Zordon from the other dimension in connecting with our Zordon when Rita takes over the command center and knocks him out of orbit, and he's kind of in spatial and time limbo. They end up talking to each other.
Yeah.
And that Zordon will learn that in the future some of our characters are going to go to their dimension and make it possible for Draken to finally maybe be taken down. And Saba will get that information, and that's the whole reason that Saba trusts and will deal with this other version of Tommy.
Yeah.
So it actually ends up all being interconnected in very weird, counterintuitive ways. But they're not just two things that are sort of happening at the same time. Like, are they or aren't they? Because one's in another dimension that's in the future. But I guess it's just set somewhat in the future. So if you go to that dimension, you'll be in what feels like your future, but they're actually happening at the same time. They're just set a few years ahead. I don't know if time moves differently in that dimension or if it's just set a few years ahead.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And then, but yeah, they have the whole like Zord fight with, like they get the Falcon Zord.
Yeah.
And they are attacking like enemy ships and stuff. And Trini gets captured. For Rita.
In our dimension.
In our dimension.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
So it's this kind of paralleling. What's confusing about it?
Just when stuff happens, like
intercutting between them.
Yeah. It's like Star Wars Episode 6.
Well, and it feels a little bit convenient the way they're paralleling in happening simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of losing at the same time and winning at the same time in each subsequent dimension. Like Trini gets captured in one dimension, and then she and Billy get captured in the other dimension at exactly the same time. And then we kind of turn the tide at exactly the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so was this your favorite issue of everything we read this time?
I think so.
With the two Zordons?
I think it was.
You seemed really excited about that earlier when we were talking about
that and issue 20, which we'll get to.
Yep, that's absolutely my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to what some of this stuff is about in a minute. We just wanted to kind of lay out what happens in this stuff. Yeah. And so then you get the big Tommy versus Draken issue.
Yeah, and Dragon Armor Trini.
Talk about Dragon Armor Trini for a second.
I don't know why, but like she's in everything. Just her wearing the dragon armor, and I don't know if she comes back.
She's in 2 pages. I don't think it ever happens again.
Yeah, she
shows up in the fighting game. She shows up in the phone fighting game.
She was a starter character in the fighting game.
Yeah.
Before Zed, before Rita.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
We got Rita way later. But
that's hilarious.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I do like Dragon Armor Trini. She looks cool.
We call her that like that's a character. It's Trini who reprogrammed the Dragon Armor and uses it to defeat Rita on our side.
Yeah, it's Dragon Armor Trini. And then she's actual Dragon Armor Trini here because she has the yellow instead of the green.
Does it read to you a little bit like Higgins goes, Trini never got enough to do in the show, and people don't appreciate the Yellow Ranger enough, so, like, we're gonna really compensate and make her as cool as we can make her and give her a lot of stuff to do.
I love Trini.
Yeah, no, I know you do. And I'm not saying she's a lame character or anything, but, like, Higgins seems to either really like Trini or wants to make her cooler.
Yeah. So people say a lot more bad words in these couple trades.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was cool that, like, the first few trades, like, they were saying, like, oh my god and stuff. But then they went further later.
Not super far, but it's basically Ninja Turtles 1990.
Yeah.
You don't get much more than, like, D words and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so give us the rest of your synopsis, Jason.
The rest of my synopsis is, oh yeah, Draken dies? ? Anyway, he falls in a pit.
Well, I don't think even here anybody would think he's actually going to be dead, you know.
But he fell. And Tommy hates that he fell.
Mm-hmm.
But then...
Because he's a Power Ranger. And,
yes. And then...
And also, you know, it's himself, and I think he wants to believe Draken has good in him as much as anybody else does, because it's him, and he has a, you know, vested interest in, like, what's in Draken's soul, because he's afraid that he could go that way.
Yeah. But, and then, second trade, after... Yeah.
Well, we should mention that like, our heroes, because you didn't talk about this, but the rest of our heroes from our side go through a portal. And
they go to the other
dimension. So everybody's been there now. Yeah, and because they get their powers back, and they're all their regular colors again, which they're very excited about because they don't think they look very good in green. And then they come back. They come over to the Draken's dimension, and they help defeat him. And it's not a whole take down the system plot. Draken's not totally out and down for the count. Like, he's been taken down a peg, certainly, but obviously he's going to be back in full force when we get into Shattered Grid. So all of this is kind of just set up for what is eventually to come with him. It reads like kind of an event on its own to some degree, but we don't know when this first comes out that what we're headed for is this huge, mega, you know, everything that's ever been in Power Rangers kind of crossover. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that they all come together to help out at the end, and we still don't have Zordon back.
No.
Yeah. And it's going to take us a while before he returns. In fact, he hasn't even come back yet when we finish the second trade.
Yeah, they're rebuilding the tube so that he can come back.
And there's a really good thematic reason for that, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But yeah, so then we get into Aftermath stuff.
Yes.
And we introduce...
Grace Sterling.
Grace Sterling.
Who is one of my favorite characters.
Cool, and we'll get into why in a little bit, but she's kind of a mysterious character at the beginning. We don't really know very much about her yet. And what is she doing?
She's, like, trying to help
Aftermath stuff.
Rangers, like. She's like, oh, I'm trying to be with, like, trying to help them as much as I can.
She runs an organization...
Yes.
That is basically like Marvel Damage Control. I love that we have kind of more realistic stuff in this, but it's handled sort of tongue-in-cheek, where it's like, you know, there's a lot of damage and rubble and people get hurt after giant monster fights, right? Like, who cleans that up? So she's kind of like Damage Control, where her organization comes in and helps people who have been adversely affected by Rita and monsters and things that happen after Power Rangers. And she's not against the Rangers, but she's kind of a realist who understands the dangers inherent in what they do. Mm-hmm. And we'll find out why that is when we get to issue 20.
I love Saba. He gets so much to do in this.
Isn't it just very strange that he's here?
Yeah.
Hi, Senior Sticks. Bulk and Skull are in this book. They are, in fact, we saw them just at the beginning of this issue, but if you haven't read these, they have a YouTube channel that's very popular where they cover things that the Power Rangers do, which is kind of based on what they do. And they're real retcon in this. They're not really bullies. They're still played a little bit for comic relief, but they're more the season 2 versions that are obsessed with finding out who the Rangers really are. They don't even really do that in this, but it seems kind of inspired by that.
Yeah. They're just way different. They're like, it's like Devin and Cassidy.
I agree. They have very much more that role, where they're kind of he's talking about the Bulk and Skull kind of counterparts in Dino Thunder, where they're not bullies, but they're kind of bumbling and occasionally play a somewhat antagonistic role, where like they don't like the Ranger characters. They think they're kind of, or at least Cassidy doesn't, thinks they're kind of stupid, but they're not like bullies. You know? Yeah. They're not knocking people over, and they don't have as much of that pratfall humor, which this Bulk and Skull we don't see as much either. I don't know if we've had pie or cake thrown in their faces one time in this book.
And Bulk is a member of the Coinless.
Senior Sticks, this is all stuff that we dealt with in our first video, so you can go back and look at that for some explanations, but I'll just mention real quick, because he says, was YouTube in the Power Rangers years? No, we've kind of retconned things and upped the timeline.
Oh, it's back. Your mouse is back.
Looks like we're all right, but my camera's not.
That was the worst face to.
Here, I'll bring our camera back. Sorry, folks. Give us a second. This has been happening a little bit here and there lately. Coleus Rex says hard to do slapstick in a comic book. That's true. I mean, I've seen it attempted. Sorry, everybody. Give me just a second here.
You've had so many video capture devices, like.
Yeah, the last couple of days this has been happening to us. Or the last couple of weeks this has happened to us some. Anyway. Okay, we're back. Hi, folks. I guess we'll be in a different aspect ratio here.
I'm so big!
Anyway, what were we talking about? Yeah, so all the events in the series happen, but it's all updated. And it's a little bit awkward, and we've talked about all of this before. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and keep going here? Collie Sprex, did you guys get dusted? Yeah, basically. I guess we were in the half that Thanos decided to get rid of, Jason. So again, Aftermath stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, Aftermath stuff. I don't remember what happens.
Okay, so the Rangers are all dealing with various things after the command center was blown to pieces, and since they went to the alternate dimension, and they're all kind of trying to figure out what their lives are now that they're still Rangers, but they're not having to deal with Rita anymore. There's not giant monsters they have to fight every week, and they have kind of more of a life now, and they've all matured based on those experiences. And I like that we're finally encroaching a little bit more into Go-Go territory, and I'm not sure if the first issue of Go-Go has come out at this point, but we're getting a lot closer to that kind of storytelling where you're seeing some real character evolution for these people. And one of the big things is we have an explanation for why Billy is so much more buff by the second season of Mighty Morphin.
Yes.
Like, I feel like he sort of has a culmination of his character arc up to this point in the previous trade, where he is, remember he was worried that he wasn't really cut out to be a Ranger, and that he didn't really like just being the brains and being the computer tech guy, and felt like he wasn't, enough of a superhero. And he has kind of this, he was trying to like force the hero's journey to happen, and I feel like the idea is supposed to be that it kind of has now sort of happened for him, where he's coming more into his own, and he's finding that balance where he's got the confidence to be the action hero now. I don't know. I was going to kind of just blow through and do quick synopsis before we went to any of this stuff, but I guess I'll go ahead and mention it now. since we're trying to explain where the Rangers are now. But do you think that what he does in the alternate universe is enough? Like, we have the other Morpher that Trini has one Morpher to go up against Draken with, and she's been saving it. She's been waiting on it.
Yeah.
And that's the Triceratops Morpher, and she gives it to Billy and says, basically, save us. And he says, I don't know if I can. And they surrender to Draken. Or they pretend to surrender to Draken. But then it turns out, of course, that it's a ruse. Although it doesn't seem like a planned ruse. I'm not totally sure, really.
Yeah.
And then they're able to use the Morpher to turn the tides, but not by him morphing. It sends out some kind of electricity that knocks everybody over. I'm not totally sure what's going on with that. But anyway, do you? So I guess the question, Jason, is Billy like coming into his own enough there as the action hero, or do you think it would have been better if he morphed?
I think I was waiting for him to get to morph.
Or is the idea like this is how he's using his brains?
Yeah.
And because he's becoming more comfortable with what he's good at, he's more confident in trying the other stuff now. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. Jason has no opinion about that.
I don't.
And then Kimberly, sorry.
I was just like, I do wish he could have just morphed.
Yeah.
Cuz they got the Morpher and I was like, okay, he's going to.
It would have been awkward, like, what would they have done with the Morpher after that?
Yeah.
Then you basically have two.
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
He could be double Blue Ranger. What happens if you...
have a much darker blue hue.
Yeah, what happens if you, like, morph while you're morphed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you, like, super powerful, but you just look the same? And,
Well,
you get really hot?
I would assume, because we'll get into this in a couple of weeks, but that basically happens with Draken, right? I mean, he's going around stealing Morphers and adding to. He's basically like the Borg. He's adding to other Rangers' distinctiveness to his own.
At least he's not like the Sixth Ranger in Super Mega Force with the stupid Ranger head shield.
Where all the helmets are on his pads. Terrible.
Wouldn't it be funny if Draken had that, though?
That would be really unfortunate.
I mean,
that would be another
is a
thing
shield.
that wouldn't translate well to comics, but it also doesn't look good in the first place.
Yeah.
That is the worst Sixth Ranger design.
There was like a Doctor Who villain at one point that had
It's like a Doctor Who villain.
Yeah.
That's great. Anyway, Richard Tracy would like to know, does the command center have a kitchen?
I think so, because Alpha prepares cake and stuff at some point.
Oh, that's true. And there's that stupid Christmas special.
Yeah.
Where he's making cookies.
Yeah.
Maybe so, but we never see it. I could see two possibilities there. Like, A, the Rangers are there all the time, especially here. There's this big point made about how after they've kind of taken down Rita momentarily, this is months after, by the way, the events of the Draken stuff in the other dimension, and they're all really driven. And, they're so used to being superheroes all the time, they don't know how to stop. And they're at they're I mean, right now they're not, because the command center's busted up and they're trying to fix it. But the command center, they're always there, and so you'd think maybe they would need to make food a lot. But then also they have teleportation, so they could just beam somewhere and then come back with food.
Yeah.
So maybe they wouldn't need that. That's a great question.
Could you,
Richard Tracy?
Do they teleport things with their teleporter, with their communicator? Can they teleport other things other than themselves?
I don't think they could just with communicators, but clearly Alpha can in the command center.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah, that does happen.
But anyway, so Kimberly is dealing with her mother getting engaged to a guy she doesn't like.
Yeah, and his... no, it's his dad getting engaged to a girl she doesn't like.
No? That's not what it is.
Wait, what am I thinking?
I don't know what you're thinking about. But she says that me and your boyfriend don't really get along at all, and they're gonna get engaged.
But then what was that scene with her dad in the restaurant with Tommy?
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with him getting married or anything.
I thought it did.
No. It's just she's trying to get her parents back together, and it's not happening. That also comes up in Power Rangers Pink, and it's weird because I meant to mention this last week, Jason, in that. Remember, Power Rangers Pink takes place in Season 3.
Yeah.
So that's like a year and a half at least after this. And at different points in that miniseries, her mother and stepdad are talked about like they're married already and like they're engaged and about to get married. Like at different points.
Yeah.
It doesn't know if she's married. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I digress. I want to know, he has the whole pacifist thing where you're only supposed to use your powers when you're fighting evil, and it's all supposed to be reactive.
Yeah.
And I was wondering about things like this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that's like, is it
for personal gain or not?
Is it for personal gain or not?
Yeah, this is fun. This also strikes me as the 2017 movie, which would have just come out, or was coming out, did this. And you remember all the posters? Mm-hmm. Had, like, Rangers sitting on their Zords?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, in issue 19.
Yeah.
He's saying that he's gonna propose to Kelly, or whoever.
Okay, well, I guess they're both, maybe.
Yeah.
Or am I remembering the mother thing wrong, too? Maybe they're both getting engaged at the same time?
They might be, but...
It's not that important, but I do appreciate that there's, like, family drama happening in the background.
Yes.
The best family drama stuff is with Billy, where his parents think that he was buried under rubble for 4 days, because to explain where he was when he was missing in an alternate dimension and in the future... they decide to teleport under rubble and just pretend like they were there for 4 days.
Yeah.
And so his parents are acting like it's this big traumatic thing, and it's actually the opposite for him. It was like a wonderful experience, and all he wants to do is work out now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Jayson is obsessively monitoring the Earth for problems.
And Finster has new monsters and stuff.
Yeah, Finster becomes the villain for this arc.
And he has, like, people that turn into monsters.
Which I don't think they do enough with. Because that's a really creepy notion. And it would have been cool if we lived in that for a while, sort of like the Yeerks and Animorphs, where it's like who's gonna turn out to be a monster or a putty or something.
They do for like 2 issues. But
I wanted it to be like characters that our heroes had to interact with, where it's like somebody you know well turns out to be a monster.
Yeah,
or
but they're
something
all
like that.
Like I don't know, they're all
he did randomize it and put them all over the Earth, so he doesn't know who they are.
And they all look like the same person.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because they're made out of spacemen. Like they copy the spacemen.
Is that what it is? It's
Yeah.
the spacemen?
Yeah, that get locked in the jail.
Whoosh! I did not pick up on that.
Yeah.
That's cool. We have a couple of really fun monster pun names.
Yes.
In this.
We have Croverlord.
Croverlord.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites.
Right here.
And then, who is your favorite, Jayson?
And then my favorite is the
Is he in the next one, or
he is in?
I thought he was in this one.
Yeah, he's right there.
Is that him?
Yeah, up there. He is the Goth Sloth.
Goth Sloth.
Yes.
It's pretty good. None of these are better than Sheeple, and that'll be a little bit later. But
yeah,
these are still pretty good.
But the Goth Sloth can make people like can make the Rangers slow. It's so cool.
Oh, good call. No, they got creative with that. Sometimes I wish we did a little bit even more of that kind of thing. But
yeah, and then chapter 20.
So Sterling has this fantastic reveal at the end of 19. where we finally find out what her deal is and why she's so interested in and knowledgeable about the Rangers, because there's clearly something there that we don't know. She's this big question mark, and she seems to be this kind of stealthy character that's always one step ahead. And it turns out that she used to be a Red Ranger.
Yeah.
And my mind is blown when we get to the end of this, and it's like, and partly because finally we're adding some new lore and background, which we've not really been allowed to do too much of yet. Yeah. Some with villains when we get to the one-shots, which we'll do a week after we'll do the annuals a week after we do the first two Go-Go trades. And those give us some cool background stuff for Finster and for Goldar, and I don't know if you've read that stuff before, but
No, I have not.
There's some mediocre stuff in there, but there's also some really good solid stuff.
They all seem like just tiny little stories that didn't really mean anything.
Many of them are. A couple of them are kind of essential and give us some major characterization, if nothing else. They tell us where Squat and Babu come from. That's one of them. And you get a little bit more of a sense of how Rita manipulates people. You get a sense of how sadistic and twisted Finster is. Higgins has a real read on Finster. He's really interested.
Although he doesn't go to Zed enough.
No, but we're finally doing tons of Zed now. So with the guy who wrote Go-Go, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, I have not read any of the new stuff, so I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you think of that stuff when we get there.
Yeah.
I think he's sometimes kind of underwritten and a little bit too cartoonish for how dramatic his background ultimately ends up being. It's that thing where we still are trying to walk this line and not always walking it real well between the hokey cheesy kid stuff and a serious story based on hokey children stuff. Senior Sticks $2 super chat stands to reason he had Rangers before the teens. Oh yes, absolutely. And we knew from Mighty Morphin that he has had previous Ranger teams. Certainly, but we get an interesting one here, and anyway, we'll go ahead and talk about it. But yeah, so immediately you get into issue 20, and suddenly you have the very first reference to something outside of Mighty Morphin, because a lot of fans were worried that we were just going to stay in Mighty Morphin forever, and we were never going to deal with any of the other mythology. And right away on page 2, suddenly a Psycho Ranger. And a different Psycho Ranger that we didn't have in space, Psycho Green. And again, lots of counterintuitive weird stuff, but really neat.
It's neat, but it makes no sense.
Okay, why don't you break down this issue, and then we can talk about why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then we can work our way backwards and get to some of your notes. Go ahead.
So there's lots of... So basically Zordon gets a bunch of people to be Rangers
in 1969, as the moon landing is happening.
Yeah, and instead of getting them just a big group of friends, like in Mighty Morphin,
that already know each other.
Yeah, he does the whole what's that one show?
Captain Planet?
Captain Planet.
Pulls them from different areas, which is what I always thought it should have been.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be people that knew each other already. Why would he go, the 5 best people to do this job on the planet are these teenagers that go to high school in this little town in California?
Yeah.
But keep in mind, he does still do that.
He does.
It's just in 69, he does the sort of smarter thing. Except, how smart is it really? Because we'll find out what happens to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
But basically, you got a black guy, and you got a person...
You got a Russian guy.
You got a Russian guy, who, they have a whole thing where they do a language translator.
Yep.
Which is cool.
But yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes of it.
Yes.
Give me the broad strokes. What happens in the issue?
They go to space, and...
Why do they go to space?
I don't remember.
Okay, so Psycho Green has been awakened by the moon landing.
Oh, yeah.
So the shuttle lands on the moon, and one leap for mankind, and then we find out that Psycho Green has just been lying dormant there to be woken up by anything that moves, I guess.
Yeah.
If there's life there, he wakes up to try to finish his job, because he was, according to this, the right-hand man of Dark Spectre from space.
Yes.
And he was supposed to awaken Rita, and Zordon managed to stop him with big space guns.
Yes.
But didn't eliminate him.
Yeah.
And he just is dormant in a spaceship on on the moon.
Yeah.
It's very silly.
But he was awakened.
But it's very Power Rangers, and I love it.
Yeah. And then they fight him, and then like they argue for a minute.
And Grace Sterling is the Red Ranger.
Yes. And then
And there's a male Pink Ranger.
Yeah, the black guy.
Yeah.
Is Pink Ranger. Why?
For no reason. Except just, I guess Zordon picks the colors willy-nilly.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense. But anyway.
I guess if he wants, whoever he wants to be the leader is going to be red, and then everybody else, it's like a coin flip.
Jen Scotts was the leader of the Time Force Rangers.
Well, that wasn't Zordon. He does things very differently.
I guess.
Anyway, moving right along.
I guess no one was the mentor for the Time Force Rangers.
Anyway, so they go to space,
Yep.
and they get trounced
Yeah.
by by Psycho Green.
As in killed.
And it's really funny the way he sneaks up on them.
Yeah.
And yeah, three of the five get slaughtered.
Yes.
And they manage to pull out the power blaster and take him out. Does he get destroyed? Or I guess they use the power blaster initially, and then he does his monster form, which I like, because all the Psychos had a monster form.
Yeah.
So he gets his big monster form, and then they pull out the big space gun that took out Psycho Green in the first place. And then they stop him. I'm not sure what happens. I guess that's an explosion? Yeah, okay. So he gets monster blown
Yeah,
up.
like the Blue Ranger, the Russian guy jumps up and kills him, but like he gets eaten.
Yeah.
And then he kills him.
Coleus Rex says that reminds me of that movie with the Transformers, Dark of the Moon. Yeah, I kind of had that too, actually, the first time I read this. So then Grace Sterling gives Zordon this big dressing down where she's like, look, we weren't ready to become Rangers. You just threw us in this situation, gave us powers, let us morph, told us where the space gun was, and then didn't give us any training or anything. And Zordon's like, well, somebody had to take care of this, and it was the best I could do on short notice. And so we're starting to finally get into the kind of questionable judgment of Zordon, the maybe moral ambiguity, but the kind of idealism and maybe arrogance with Zordon, but more just he's really idealistic and he's really naive, where it's almost like he thinks that the real world he lives in is a Saturday morning cartoon like Power Rangers kind of was, but it's more dire sometimes than that.
Yeah.
And that all kind of comes from his philosophy, which I wanted to talk about a little bit, because Grace Sterling is clearly supposed to be the anti-Zordon.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that now and kind of work our way backwards?
Yeah.
Do you mind if we talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah.
So I think there is a big thematic reason that, by the way, I don't know if the Green Dagger comes back or not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
She has it at the end of this, and I
wasn't sure what that was.
Oh, actually, before I talk about Zordon, why do you say Psycho Green doesn't make any sense?
Because Astronomo created the Psycho Rangers.
And they didn't exist at all before this?
No. So Psycho Green has the exact same costume and everything, except he's green, and he just appears out of nowhere. And I
and
read,
there's no sense that he ever had a team.
Yeah, and I read the space one shot, which you haven't read,
yeah.
And it gives us a more detailed origin of him. and he
Did they make it fit better?
A little bit, but he just appears out of some, like, volcano or something. I can't remember.
Did he live with Malagor?
But it, like, he was made, like, before the other Psycho Rangers. So,
okay. So then did Astronema base their design on him?
I guess, but how did she know about him? Like...
Look, she had long walks with Dark Spectre. Okay?
Yeah.
Long moonwalks. And they had these deep conversations about their pasts. DC.
No.
No, okay.
I don't.
So let me talk a little bit about Zordon, and then we can break down your notes and work our way backwards and talk about some of the like underlying ideas and stuff, and just stuff that's fun and that we like and stuff we don't.
Okay.
What's up?
Nothing. I just don't have anything else to say, like, about the story.
Okay, sure. So
I just have my notes.
So I think the reason Grace Sterling is, you'll think of stuff. I think the reason Grace Sterling is, or the reason, pardon me, that Zordon is not brought back yet is so that we can kind of define Grace Sterling and how her philosophy about dealing with evil threats and basically crime fighting, how that differs from Zordon. And she's basically established to be the anti-Zordon and a character that the Rangers have to rely on while Zordon is out of commission. And I think it's kind of a stroke of brilliance that we discover while Zordon is gone and while the Rangers are relying on her and letting her help them. And there's even a conversation about like she's not straight up a mentor yet, but she's almost starting to fill that role. Where there's this conversation the Rangers have about how Zordon is gone. We don't have anybody to give us intel, to give us information. Like, we have no viewing globe. Who's going to tell us where the threats are?
Yeah.
And Grace Sterling is like, here I am, and I've been keeping track of your exploits all this time, and I can help you. And there's this kind of almost ominousness to her, and then we find out that Zordon created her in like a real classic like hero makes a mistake and creates the villain kind of way. And I don't mean that Grace Sterling is a villain, and she will sometimes be somewhat antagonistic, but there is this big ideological argument that's set up between them that will be very much like a Tony Stark versus Steve Rogers Civil War kind of thing. And I love that this book is, it being Power Rangers and still doing all the silly, goofy Power Rangers stuff, you got Crover Lord, and all of that, is going to those places and being thought-provoking about it and getting into the morality of Zordon. And I talked about this a little bit, I think, in the rewind I did for first season Mighty Morphin. But I love the idea of taking the philosophy that the mentor has to have just to make it a kid show to sell action figures and make parents okay with their kids watching this kind of arguably violent thing about like kids punching putties and monsters and things, because the whole reason he has any philosophy at all is so that we can have the PSA kind of moral at the end of every episode that we only fight for defense.
Yeah.
Like that's the moral of Power Rangers. That's what makes it okay for children to watch it, right?
Yeah.
So if you start breaking that down, I'm fascinated by this. Zordon is probably my favorite character in Power Rangers in the same way that Jor-El is my favorite Superman character. And there's a lot of interesting parallels between them now that we have more juicy stuff about Zordon. Zordon is the ultimate pacifist who loves an excuse to use cool toys.
Yeah.
So he gets really excited about his giant Zords, and he's sort of like 60s Batman, right? Where, like, he's perfect, he does no wrong, except he labels everything and he has all these weapons, you know? Mm-hmm. And so there's an ego there, right? But the deal with Zordon is he believes in this kind of utilitarian way of dealing with evil threats, where you only react. You never start a fight, right? That's one of the 3 big tenets of being a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
And Grace Sterling, because she sees Zordon's whole philosophy fail in action, has the opposite way of looking at it. And she turns into more of like an Amanda Waller type, kind of, except I don't hate her, and she's not like she doesn't seem to be going on the offensive to the point of killing people on purpose for the greater good, like making excuses to do terrible things. She will do the wrong thing for the right reasons, but she seems a little bit more principled and a little bit more, she has her head more on her shoulders, I guess, is the right way to put it. And anyway, I love the argument between them. I think it's really interesting. And Zordon's philosophy is wonderfully well established in issue 15, where the counterpart Zordon from Draken's dimension allows Draken to take over because he believes in the good in everyone, and he believes that there must be good in Tommy, and he sticks to that even when it kills him. And that philosophy, and I know you've not studied a lot of ethics and stuff, Jason, but it's very much, and this is the thing I'm always fascinated by in superhero fiction, and some of the best like supervillain versus villain arguments are about this. The virtue-based ethics versus the ends-based ethics. So Zordon believes you always do the right thing. His principle of only reacting when someone does something wrong and stopping them, but giving them the benefit of the doubt, even if they don't deserve it. Like Rita, no reason to believe she'll ever do the right thing. He always gives her the benefit of the doubt. He lets her go first. Always.
Yeah.
If he's playing chess, he never goes first. He always lets you go first. Right? And he, and so his philosophy is you'll never improve human beings unless you give them that ability. And as soon as you make it about what the end effect is, you're always starting over potentially. You're always making it impossible for progress to happen. And he thinks that at the end of the day, somehow right is going to win out, even if a lot of terrible things happen first. And there's a nobility to that, but there's another side to that too, and there's the potential that he is too extreme and he takes that too far. So I wanted to lay all that out because that's going to be a huge thematic thing and the big crux for all the Zordon stuff we'll do after this. And I promise not to break it down that hard every time we get to it, but I needed to lay it out now because we're going to be talking about that a lot. Now, my big reservation or issue with the way he handles things here in issue 20 is, well, actually, not even the way Zordon handles it. Like, this is what Zordon does. He gives kids powers and throws them off into space. I guess here are 20-somethings. I don't buy that Psycho Green manages to kill 3 of the 5 of this team that easily. Like, think about all the stuff the Rangers are constantly going up against that they're able to get through just because the story needs them to.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why he was able to take them out that easily. Like, why is he so much more powerful than Zordon's power?
This time the story just needed them to not die, or to die.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's a little too easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, because the Power Rangers have, like, they explain it where, like, when you have the suit on, like, you already know you know how to fight.
Yeah.
It's like the Matrix. Where
exactly.
It's like just downloaded into your brain and you know how to fight, you've got the power.
Yeah, how much more prepared could they have been? I mean, they could have been more prepared, I guess.
Yeah.
But did he win because they didn't know enough? Or did he win because he just was more powerful and more experienced than them? Like, how much more experience could they have gotten where he still wouldn't have won that? I felt like that was pretty contrived.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue I have with it.
Yeah.
But It is a super neat backstory for her.
It is.
And kind of the last thing I thought they would do. And
Yeah.
this is my favorite issue of Higgins' run, I think.
Yeah,
I like
so
it a
far
lot.
it's probably my favorite.
Except you don't care for the Psycho Green thing. Or you just don't like that it's...
I like the Psycho Green thing. I just don't think it makes sense.
Maybe not.
Yeah. They could have contrived some other way that it...
Psycho Green is in the...
Is a monster?
is a monster. Psycho Green is in the board game now.
He is.
We have all 6 Psycho Rangers in Heroes of the Grid. And I've painted all of them.
All of them. We have 6 of the 7.
Psycho Silver is not a real Psycho Ranger.
Yeah, but they have to do it. They have to do it.
You still want that... what would you even do with that figure? Because he's not bad.
You would...
Would you make him a ranger?
Make him a ranger.
As opposed to a villain?
Yeah.
As opposed to a monster?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you could either paint him silver or red. Because you have the whole thing at the end where Zane... Because Zane sucks.
Zane sucks.
And
we just talked about this on a commentary we did
Yeah.
last week. Me and
really?
DJ and Austin, yeah.
Aren't there 6 in the... I wasn't sure why you did 5.
We skipped the one that was real skippable.
Oh, okay.
Which is also about the moon.
Oh, gosh.
Remember that?
The
little girl that tries to get Carlos to
Yeah.
get her a moon rock?
Yeah, the Carlos one.
The Psycho Rangers are hardly in there.
And the Psycho Rangers don't even, like, none of them get killed, so yeah, you could have.
Also, DJ, part of the reason we skipped that was DJ said he grew up with the VHS tape, and they skipped that episode of the VHS tape. They only put the 5 on there. So they did it like Green with Evil. So a lot of kids thought of that saga as another 5-episode saga. Which reminds me, another thing I thought was cool about the Psycho Green thing.
And you didn't do the thing where they come back in the teleporter.
Yeah, I know, there's like a couple more episodes at the end of the season, but no, we didn't do that.
Well, and you didn't... I know you wouldn't have done the episode where they're just in the teaser and then nowhere else. But
yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, we didn't get into the ghost stuff.
Yeah,
The really
Ghosts in the
weird
Machine.
Ghost in the Machine, yeah. But anyway.
Anyway, comics.
So, one thing I thought was cool about the Psycho Green idea, and I don't know if this was on purpose, but they basically truncate, except they give it a more tragic ending. Mm-hmm. They basically truncate the earliest episodes of Mighty Morphin with this team in about 20 minutes.
Yes.
Because, did you think of this? They have their own evil Green Ranger in Psycho Green. And it made me wonder if Green was the choice and they made up that character so that this team in 69 would get their own evil Green Ranger.
And they did that because everything is Tommy!
Yeah, and she's still linked to Rita, or sorry, he's still, Evil Green Ranger, linked, or Psycho Green, linked to Rita, because he's trying to free her.
Yep.
So that she can take over, I guess, something for Dark Spectre?
Yeah.
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 Okay, we're pushing an hour. You want to go ahead and go through your notes?
Yes.
All right.
So I wasn't sure about the coinless at first, but they kind of went over on me.
Okay.
I don't know. They're like, I was like, oh no, what is this? They're bringing in stuff we know are like more fan service.
Well, in what way? What do you mean?
I mean, because at the end of the last trade,
yeah,
you saw the coinless.
Yeah.
And I was like,
but I mean,
oh, no.
that's not fan service as much as it's characters that exist in an alternate world and what happened to them. I mean, maybe we always do this with this kind of thing. Maybe it's a little bit easy that some of the main characters in the Resistance are like characters we know already. Where, like, you know, Bulk and Skull would be there and stuff, but like they do that in the Countdown to Destruction, and like there's precedent for that. I think it's neat that they went there, but
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like the coinless.
Zack as the Resistance leader is good.
Yeah, and Bulk is like a likable character.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. They should make. Have they made a one-shot about General Vengeance yet?
I don't think so.
They have to.
We're getting off the beaten path here.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
Finster is evil.
Yeah, Richard Tracy, these covers are really good. And when we get finished with Jason's notes, we'll go through my collection and figure out which covers I have.
Yes.
Because sometimes I have the main covers and sometimes I have variants, and I don't even know what I have. So we'll check it out. But and I've started collecting again, and I might even show you the most recent stuff I got. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Finster is evil.
Finster is very evil. Do you like that?
He's evil. Yes. This is good things.
He's yeah, he's not fun and bumbling and you know, like not imposing. Like he's creepy.
You can tell that he was the same voice actor as Ed.
Well, and I like that he does everything for his art.
Yeah.
That kind of makes it worse.
Yeah.
He has no regard for life whatsoever.
Yeah, and his monsters are cool, and like his plans are cool.
Yeah.
He's evil.
Yep. Okay, go ahead. What else you got?
I already talked about these
Real quick,
things.
Senior Sticks put in another $2 super chat. Thanks, man. Could Zordon have built a robot so he can ranger up? Spoilers, but that happens eventually. And we'll get there because it's awesome. But yeah, in the most recent event that happens.
The Eltarian.
Eltarian War. Yeah, or Eltarian War. Pardon him.
Eltarian.
My favorite cover so far in the entire series, in everything Boom has done, is, yeah, they give him, again, spoilers, but I'm sure a lot of you guys that care about this have seen it already. And if you haven't, this might make you want to get into the series because it's so cool. But we have a kind of Krang-like bodysuit.
Yeah, it's like a tube Megazord, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Except it's person sized.
Yeah.
And he's got a cool blue robot body, but he looks kind of like Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
And he's got a smaller tube with the Zordon face in it, and then he's fighting Lord Zed. And I want an 11 by 17 on my wall. It's so awesome.
Does his face fit in there? Isn't his face like really big?
I think he can change the size of it.
That's weird.
Which makes it very arbitrary that the tube has to be that big in the command center. But you know what? I don't care. It was worth it. It was worth it. I'm gonna bring that cover up because it's awesome. But anyway, why don't you give us some more notes, Jason?
So these two trades were kind of boring to read.
Oh, you thought so?
Yeah.
This is kind of an epic climax, man.
I don't know. I couldn't get through it very easily.
Really? I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Yeah.
What was it missing that you wanted? Like, this is where it starts getting interesting to me.
There wasn't much happening in it, I felt like.
Is that because we just have, like, easy obligatory, maybe not easy, but, like, you got your big obligatory battle to finish off.
It's just like, there's arc. Big Goldars, and there's trust issues, and then right at the end, bang, 1969, and I'm hooked. But like before that,
So by the time we got to 20, it was exciting.
Yeah.
So did you like the second trade better than the first trade?
I did.
Okay. But there's so much exciting battle stuff. So is that not what you're here for at all? Like when we get into the Megazord fights, you get bored.
Character development and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Me too. But
I'm the opposite of my mom.
But Power Rangers, you do still want some of that, and some of the best of that so far is certainly here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you did mention Falcon Zord. That's really cool. But and Dragon Armored Trini, I guess those are kind of the two of the big highlights. But it's, but, you know, the Megazord versus all the Goldars is real fun. Mm-hmm. Here's that cover.
Speaking of...
Oh, 1 second. Go ahead.
Speaking of the big Goldars, what's wrong with their faces? They're not, like, they don't look like Goldars.
You don't think?
Yeah.
Here it is. It's brilliant. It's monumental. I love everything about it.
Is that Jayson?
I think it's Jayson or Matt.
Oh yeah, Matt.
I'm not sure, and we'll get to that character when we get to Go-Go. But yeah, good old Ryan Perot. Anyway.
Yeah.
Other notes.
Favorite characters.
Yeah.
Grace Sterling.
Yep.
And Saba.
Definitely one of mine. And Saba. Yes. Saba's one of your favorite characters.
Yes. The I'm not sure character. Psycho Green.
Psycho Green. What about Draken?
Draken is hardly in this. And
he has the big, giant, epic battle with Tommy in this. Tommy's got to have this huge speech. Did you read these?
I did. Okay.
Tommy's got his big speech about how I'm better than you because I trust my friends. And by the way, here they come through a portal to stop you.
I haven't put Draken in my notes yet. He's not one of my favorite characters yet, and he's not one of my least favorite characters yet. I have mentioned him in my notes.
We're 20 issues in. Draken's been the main antagonist apart from Rita, and Jason's got nothing to say about him.
Nope.
That should tell you something. Draken could be fascinating, and he's just not.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of unfortunate to me.
Yeah.
There's a big thematic idea with Draken that I remember talking about in another video, and I don't know where I got it from, because it's not here yet. Like, going back through this, I don't know what I was talking about, because I remembered the whole reason that Draken takes over and works with Rita in the first place, and then creates his armies based on the power coins, and is a fascist dictator, and all of that, totalitarian. I thought that the whole reason he did all of that was because in order to protect and save the people he cares about, he had the very opposite extreme philosophy of Zordon, which is the ends always justify the means, and total control, as opposed to letting things happen first. And there is an argument to be made that Zordon is too controlling, and that he too is in some ways corrupted by power, but we'll talk about that as we continue getting into the kind of moral questioning of Zordon.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing any of that yet, and I don't know where I got it from. He seems to just be a bad guy. We talked about this last video, so I won't harp on it too long, but I said there that I really wish that you got the sense that our Tommy from our universe was at all tempted by Rita. And it seems like they're just the big difference between the two universes. Everything is the same, except Tommy was just born bad.
Yeah.
That's not interesting. Like, I really hate that. And there's this... there's even talk about it in issue 15, where our Zordon has that question of, was the Tommy from that universe ever worth saving? And I'm like, I don't like that. He needs to have had, both of them needed to have had the same opportunity for change, and both had a hard time picking it, and one went one direction, became a different person, and one went the other direction and became a different person, like Thomas Riker in Star Trek TNG. Yeah. Right? That's what it should be. And it's not. And then the reason it should be that is because Higgins wants to play with the idea that Tommy might just be fated to be bad. But that's not interesting when you say that one from another universe is just bad in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay, well then all you're saying is that fate is real and you don't have a choice, and our Tommy was born with goodness in him, and Draken was born without that, and then that's it. That's how it reads.
Yeah.
And that's what's unfortunate about Draken. Really cool design, but it reads like, and it gets worse when we get to Shattered Grid, and with his motivations and stuff, we'll talk about it, but he's so much more one note than he should be. He could be really interesting.
Colossus Rex, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was not originally a Japanese show called Jiraiya. It was...
I think he's probably trying to say Jiranger, but anyway, let's finish this up, shall we?
And then my least favorite character right now is Goldar.
You loved Goldar before.
He...
Do you not like that he just... does whatever Rita says and kind of is a pushover
and he doesn't do anything at all, and he just gets taken over by the big Goldars, and like you see him without clothes, like I don't know.
Did you want that to not be armor? Did you want Goldar to just be born that way?
I don't know.
I never thought about it before, to be perfectly honest with you.
I just thought, I don't know, I thought he should, like, fight more and stuff. And, yeah. And
that's fair.
The big Goldars kind of looked like, that one Goldar. Not as much.
2017?
No, the Goldar, no. No. But the Goldar from Beast Morphers.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Goldar Maximus.
Goldar Maximus. It kind of looks like that.
Goldar Maximus is a travesty that should never have happened. Well, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy these as much as I did.
Yeah. Oh, also my favorite monster is the Goth Sloth.
The Goth Sloth. I think this is
He's not emo at all. Like...
This is some of the best material we've had so far. I think, and
yeah.
Like in the second trade more than the first, volume 5.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it starts getting into the stuff that I'm a lot more interested in, and all the really intriguing kind of heavier thinking stuff, and also you're talking about the character development, character progression. We are evolving these characters and letting them change and grow, and that's nice. But the stuff in the alternate dimension is fine, but it really does read a little too derivative, and like it's there to have some kind of big, exciting thing at the beginning of the series. And I realize we're 20 issues in, but it's been a slow burn because they're not allowed to just start over. So the first thing that Higgins goes to is, we got to have an evil Tommy.
Yeah.
So he makes up a new evil Tommy. Do you agree with me that if Higgins had been allowed to just start from scratch and remake Green with Evil, and that was the first arc he did, it might have been great?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know I said this at the beginning, but in our first video, but that's the big misstep with all of this, and it seems to have just been a Saban thing and kind of nothing that they could help. But I do think that you could make Draken a lot more interesting, and I just wish that he was a more sympathetic villain, especially being a corrupted Power Ranger.
Yeah.
He feels too much like another Zed or a Rita.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't get that much, like, I mean, I don't remember anything or...
Like, why is he so evil?
And he doesn't really have any, like, character development or anything.
He just goes, like, real simple, like, the strong always survive, survival of the fittest. If you have friends, they make you weak. The Krang Ninja Turtles thing. Family is for weaklings. Like, I don't know exactly how he came to that, and I think we do get more background for that, and it maybe gives him a little bit more dimension, but it's still not as interesting as it ought to be.
Yeah.
He really should just be, Tommy, if he chose to not go with the Rangers and went with Rita, and that came from like a real character plays. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like they didn't allow them to give Tommy much of a backstory. Like,
yeah.
Well, he's got a single mom.
Which
I don't really know that much more.
Did we even know if he had any parents?
No. People were making jokes about this last week in the live comments. Were like, Tommy didn't have parents before. Yeah. Anyway, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No.
next time, so we're going to take a week off because next week Jason and I are going to be out of town and we're going to be on vacation. So we are going to do a couple of live shows next week, but we're not going to talk about Power Rangers, partly because we're going to be on vacation. We're not going to be preparing for stuff, but also because we won't be able to show panels and stuff.
Which is cool.
What's cool?
The panels.
It is cool. Next time we're going to do the first 2 volumes of Go-Go Power Rangers, which I'm stoked about because it's the best material of all of this so far. Mm-hmm. The best written material, I should say.
Yeah.
And you've read that stuff.
I have.
You didn't remember who Ranger Slayer was, but...
No, I did. Okay. I read up to when like Ranger Slayer was first announced and I stopped.
Okay.
So, yeah. Like I know who she is, but I don't know much about her.
Again, Draken could be cooler. Higgins created Draken. People love Draken. That's cool and all, but but Perot gave us Ranger Slayer and
yeah. Who is a better writer though?
For this material, Perot, but some of that might be Higgins kind of having his hands tied behind his back a little bit at the beginning. Yeah. Like, he did bring some great stuff to this. Don't get me wrong, but
is he just not writing Power Rangers anymore?
Yeah, he left after Shattered Grid.
Oh, okay.
And then we got a new writer for Beyond the Grid, which was awful, and we're gonna have to read all that.
That's why Beyond the Grid.
Yeah,
is
he
awful.
did write. There was a female writer, I forget her name, who did that stuff, and then who, to her credit,
Waitress.
To her credit, she tried really hard to appease fans by bringing in a lot of mythology from different shows. But if you hadn't seen everything, it was impossible to follow. Yeah. And I just didn't think the story was very good. It was basically Battlestar Galactica between dimensions in Power Rangers, and it stops reading like Power Rangers. So everybody strap in, get excited about that when we get there.
Yeah.
I think that'll take 2 or 3 trades to read.
Are we still gonna do that thing after Beyond the Grid?
What thing?
Where we review a different bad Power Rangers comic
what are you talking about?
Series?
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Okay.
Or are you talking about like the old stuff before Boom? At some point, I do want to do that because I think it'll be funny.
Yeah, because we talked about doing.
We talked about doing some of the Power Rangers archives.
Yes.
The trade that goes back
to 2
to
trades of that.
The DC stuff and maybe the Hamilton stuff.
Yeah. I thought it was Marvel.
And is it Marvel?
I think it's Marvel.
And I don't know if any of the Zeo comics are in there.
Yeah. I read the Alien Rangers stuff.
Oh yeah. The art in that is atrocious. And there's some Zed that just makes me want to cry in some of those issues. Even in covers.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we leave,
the action figure cover
we were going to go through some of this.
Zed is terrible.
So, would you pull some of the issues out here?
I know which issues they are, so...
We didn't do this last time. Do you want to go ahead and pull out the issues from before, too? We don't have to go through Pink, because I just have the regular covers for that, and we saw those in digital last time, but...
That was 8 through...
It was 9 up to 20. Just pull 9 through 20. And we'll go ahead and show those off on camera real quick and see which covers I ended up with. Just give me part of the stack.
Yep. The issue numbers are in, like, random places.
That's true.
Annoying.
It gets really weird when we get to Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers because some covers will give you legacy numbering.
Legacy numbering?
Yeah. So they'll count all of the issues of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers past 55 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And so if you get some of the other covers besides the regular, like, Mighty Morphin number whatever, or Power Rangers number whatever, it'll say Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 80.
Oh, wow. Weird.
75. And if you collected them that way, you could keep the numbering going from 55 all the way up if you got the right covers.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. But at the same time, you wouldn't necessarily want to read them in that order.
No.
So it gets weird. But anyway, so 9, I think this was the regular cover. There you go.
And if you want me to, I can look it up.
And then I got 10. I don't know how important that is, but I'll just show you which covers I ended up with. And then here's 11. I know my 12 was one of the, not Actually, this wasn't the regular cover either, I don't think. But this is one of my favorite covers.
Oh yeah, it's a cool cover.
So yeah, not variants, but just like B or C covers. There you go. Here was my 13. Now we're getting into stuff that we reviewed today.
Yes.
These are just the regular covers, I think, right?
Yeah,
Did we see this one today?
That's the regular cover.
And then here's 15.
That is the regular cover. Yes. Oh wait, no, that is not the regular cover.
Is it not?
For 15, yeah.
No, I think it is.
That's not the regular cover. For 15.
Okay, maybe not. And
15
then
has like a Zord on it and stuff.
this is the regular cover, but I like it a lot.
Yes.
It's nice when you get a thing like that, it actually happens in the issue. So Jayson likes this cover a lot because it's got the Tyrannosaurus eating rocks.
Yeah. And the pterodactyls carrying rocks.
When this first came out, I didn't appreciate that the Zords were kind of demolishing and trying to rebuild the command center, and that's cool.
Why did you not appreciate that?
I mean, I didn't get that that's what was happening, is what I mean. I've always liked this cover because Kimberly is coming at you right in your face on the bottom with the peace sign on 2 hands. I love that. That's so that character.
It is.
I don't think this was the regular cover, was it?
I'll have to
I mean, we
see.
could look, but I'm not going to do it right now. And then,
No,
then I really wanted the regular cover for 20 because I love it. It's wonderful. But yeah, so those are the covers I have. And then, like I said, I started collecting again.
Yeah,
Just a
people in
second,
the chat
guys.
were talking about that.
Talking about what?
The number 20.
Yeah, it's in the cover. People in the chat talking about how great this artwork is. So I caught up on Power Rangers Universe, and I have, I think, up to current now with this. And I got the regular covers for this, which are all different Rangers, because through what we've read so far, besides the Psycho Ranger stuff that we just got, and we didn't mention that NASADA comes up. It's not NASA, it's
Yes.
NASADA, just like in space. But instead, pardon me, we haven't gotten to anything else that's outside of regular Power Rangers, but here you're going to see Rangers of various shows in each in one color. So red and blue for issues 1 and 2, and then 3 was yellow, and 4 was pink. And these are really fun.
Because they've got the hands.
I think these are probably all Dan Mora covers. I'm actually not sure. And here is
Dan
Black.
Mora's
We got
awesome.
Dino Black, which is one of my favorites. Pardon me, Dino Thunder. And then there's a green one. And these are all kind of backstory things, starting with, I think, a story about Astronema when she was being raised by Ecliptor. Ecliptor. And then the last 3 issues of this tell one story, which kind of deals with the Morphin Master stuff and some more recent things that we've gotten with the history and the mythology. All the kind of cosmic lore with this is going to get very complicated, and there's a lot of it. And so it's going to be fun to attempt to keep it all in our heads, which is why we wanted to do this in kind of rapid succession like this, so that we've got things kind of fresh in our minds. So really, Jayson, strap in, because there's going to be a lot to remember.
Oh, God.
We might have to start making, like, pie charts and everything. Anyway.
Oh, no. Not pie charts.
Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Hope you had a good time. Like I said, we're going to take next week off from this, but we'll be back a week after that with, finally, Go-Go Power Rangers. I was Captain Logan.
And I was Jayson.